Hi, I'm Tom Rasmussen. I'm a real estate broker with eXp Realty. I am doing our market stats. I call them R. It's just a arbitrary kind of set of 10 areas that I decided to use for market stats. If your area is not included and you'd be interested in getting some information about your area, just send me a message. I'll be posting this on my social media, both YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, I guess. And just get to me and I can pull up some numbers for you too as well. So as we get started here, I want to go over what these numbers mean. So active is kind of self-explanatory. That's just the number of active homes currently for sale. Closed, that would be the number closed. The absorption rate, that's an interesting number, but that's just a number amount of time that would take for the current inventory to sell at the current rate that we've been selling homes at. Average days on market. That is the total number of days from the list date to the date it actually closes. And then sale percentage of list, that just shows how homes sell based on what the price they were listed at. If you notice, we're about half. Some sold a little bit below the list price, and some just a little bit above, which is different than what we saw a couple years ago. And then the pricing trend it's a quarter. So I do these numbers every quarter. So that number is basically the last quarter's numbers multiplied by four. So like for St. Charles, it says 14.4. If you divide that by four, it's a little bit over three. So basically, homes appreciated 3% over the last quarter. And if that continues, we'd have an annual price raise of 14%. 6015 went up 34.75. So if you divide that by four, it's what? 8% went up last quarter. So if it keeps up for the next three quarters for the full year, that we'd have an appreciation of roughly 34%. And then Geneva, that's a number I'm sure a lot of you are looking at those now, the red numbers. For whatever reason, Geneva went down over the winter, roughly 10% for that last quarter, which is most of it winter. And if it continued, we'd show, 41% decrease, which that ain't gonna happen. Well, I can't guarantee anything, but I don't think so. I don't think any of you do either. Okay, so just pick these St. Charles. If you look at the numbers, just to kind of understand this, there's 97 currently active, 79 closed last quarter. The average sale price this quarter was 465, 552, and the average list price was 466. There, if you look at that sale percentage of list, the sale prices were a little bit below list. I mean, there's roughly 3.68 or 3.5 months worth of inventory. And it took approximately 111 days to go from list to close. So if you figure most homes take roughly 6 to 8 weeks with the mortgage to close, so it basically took, that's 3 months, 111, roughly a month, 6 weeks to get under contract as an average over the winter months. If you go down a little lower, like Geneva, for instance, they had 62 active currently, 77 closed. Their average sale price was 504 this quarter, and the average list price was 512. So, Trump dropped 1.6% below the list. But the big numbers at 41%, basically meaning that over this quarter compared to last quarter, the prices are 10% lower than they were, before the previous quarter. Obviously, in the previous quarter would have been, so this is what, April, right? Beginning of May. That was like November, December, January timeframe. So, okay. The other numbers are all, relatively good still. Houses are still selling close to list price. They're still selling relatively quickly. Elgin was a little bit slower. That was 132 days. In April, 140. So 140 days is almost 5 months, not quite. So basically taking 3 months to get under contract. That's why if you look at the absorption rate too, it's 4.6. There's a lot more homes for sale there. And then Bartlett, 158 currently active, 117 closed last quarter. Same thing. The numbers are roughly the same. 122 is a little bit longer than a lot of us are used to. But as spring market comes, these things are going to change for sure. Okay. If you have any questions, I'm going to try doing this monthly. It's up in the air. Don't do it exactly the same date every month. But as I see things changing, I will make updates. I'm going to do one for sure in a month, roughly. Just go and see that Geneva and that South Elgin number change, because I'm sure they will, based on the spring market that I've seen so far. Now, if you have any questions or if there's information on here that you'd like to talk more about, please just get back to me and I will help answer your questions. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.